Okay. Well, we're coming back from yesterday. The guild did have some very good strike missions last night. Um, we actually got through them very quickly and they were very well done. We were quite nice ace on that. Um, I didn't really get anything truly of value, but I did get some money and some miscellaneous other things out of it. However, today we're going to be continuing with Tarley Streamer's journey. And continuing with our newer character. Now, if I do get good enough and proficient enough with this Guardian and get it geared up and stuff later on, I may actually start using it for strike missions and other things. However, I will still not stream those without permission from my guildmates. And that is just a courtesy to them. I wouldn't necessarily want someone streaming me or my commentary and audio without my permission. So, out of respect for my guildmates and online friends, that I will not do that to them. I actually didn't go over the other stuff in here. This is actually a unique vendor that is in each world that takes items called Proof of Legend. There are some other things that I've already unlocked from this vendor. The primary way to get Proof of Legends is from birthday presents when your character turns 10 years old. Now, there are other ways you can get them in the achievements. Under side story, there is a section called Decade of Dragons. And completing each one of these will give you one Proof of Legend. And then you also get a war skin back item cape as well as a weapon for completing them. However, once you've completed them once, you can only get the Proof of Legend by getting a character to their 10th birthday. Which, of course, naturally takes 10 years. Now, this other person up here will take you to the Festival of Four Winds, which I'm not going to be doing on this character. Did I finish I believe I finished these last night. Oh, nope, I did not. Okay, so we need to harvest 7 more things with a harvesting sickle, or complete an event in the Heart of Maguma, which we're not going to do, because those are level 80 areas from Heart of Thorns. Weekly, I need 3 more Nightmare Cord. Okay, we'll finish that one soon. I've already finished this. And as you can see, I've just about capped out on my Astral Acclaim. So I won't necessarily be focusing on that stuff. And then, of course, there is the fact that it is resetting in 2 days when the expansion drops. So I will most likely use my stuff on the new items or when it refreshes on some of the stuff that I buy every time. Now, there are two things we can do here. We can choose to continue our mapping and just ignore this story. That is always an option. You are free to go to other maps and basically explore the entire world in its entirety without ever doing story. The only exception to that is the newer maps from the expansions. To get to some of them, you have to use teleport to friends, or you have to complete the story events that take you there. Since I'm not necessarily going to go out of order on the story, we won't be getting to those areas for a while. And there are some areas that we probably won't get to at all while we're doing story. I will go back and do map completion and stuff at some point. But right here is our story. So now we are going to work on our personal story and start going through here. Now, the personal story is unlocked every 10 levels. And once we finish them, if we are not level 20, then we will... we'll be kind of stuck till we reach level 20. Which means you would have to go do the same thing we did to get to level 10. You'd have to go complete events, renowned hearts, mapping, all that good stuff. Now, you do get decent experience while doing the missions, and because you get experience from the adventure guide as well, it's generally not too difficult to get to the next story missions prior to finishing your first set. The later ones are a little harder to get to, simply because once you've gotten the adventure guide completed, I don't know why I lost what I was trying to say there for a minute. It does slow your leveling. There's also the fact that levels take an increasing amount of experience to finish. We really should have no problems and be able to get our level 20 fairly easily. Alright, I forgot they spawned behind me. Thought I'd killed them all so it wouldn't be an issue. I forgot him advancing would spawn more. Come on, Gavin, get up here. This is why I hate NPCs. There we go. Alright, and away we go. Okay. You say that, but are ya sure? Alright, and at level 15 we unlocked our second utility slot here. which I don't really have very good skills right now. Once you're done with a story mission, you can either come over to where the indicator is or simply use the little leave instance button here. Both will take you out of the instance. Hello, how are you doing today? Now we're going to continue with the stories. I could go up and do more of the map completion for this area. However, I do want to progress the story till it naturally takes up that way. That, and I kind of just do enjoy doing the story as one cohesive unit for the level packs. I don't really like stopping after doing one or two instances. Mostly because I find I tend to forget what I was working on. I should also probably unlock new skills, since I have points to do so. Do I want to put this on here? Nah, I don't really need a shadow step right now. I can't imagine he's feeling worse. He looked like he was half dead when we were talking to him before. Most of the personal stories do have some point in them, usually in the second or third part of it, much like this one, where it will take you to a point that kind of sorta introduces the idea of vistas. They generally don't actually have you interact with real vistas, but they do introduce the idea of high scenic overviews. Also, this is not the correct way to get down here. I am just unconcerned about the fall damage and stuff. Mostly because I know from experience how far I can fall before it will kill me. Okay, now we're going to chase this white stag around, because that's what they want us to do. Now, there are two options here. I can just chase the white stag around and ignore all of the enemies. But there's no fun in that. So, we're going to get some experience and stuff by fighting the enemies. Now, I didn't really mention this in the previous instance, but anytime you are in an instanced area... Okay, you know what? Actually, let's go ahead and set this. It'll be useful. If you actually go outside of the instance area, as marked on the mini-map by these red dashes, it will automatically either send you back to the instance area or kick you out, depending on what instance you're doing. It used to actually exclusively kick you out of the instances. However, in some cases, that caused a lot of problems. So I'm actually going to run over here and cross into it just to show you. It will pop up a message saying you're leaving the area, and it will teleport you back. Or kick you out if the instance is one that will not teleport you back. There are very few of those left, however. They did convert most of them over to the newer setup where it simply teleports you back into the area. And that's just mostly because they're being nice and decided that forcing people to redo large sections of instances isn't necessarily the best idea, simply because they cross out of the instance area, which honestly isn't always your fault. There are some story instances and things where you end up fighting the enemies are very close to the edge. And if they have knockback skills that can knock you out of the mission area, it would still kick you out. And that was just mean. So, it is much better the way they have it set up now. Before I trigger this, I want to take out the other ones around here. Because we are almost done. That should be good. Should just have this one over here. Alright, there we go. Now we should be good to just run after this thing. Oh, nope. More enemies. I was wrong. Several more enemies. I didn't mention it when I was going over the other stuff, because I was more focused on the second utility spot, but we did unlock our third profession skill, which in this case is Virtue of Courage, which grants me Aegis, which just blocks one incoming attack every, I don't know, 20 seconds or so. Alright, go away. I don't want to talk to you. I want to interact with the deer. Gavin, you are in my way. Okay, is there anything else coming? There. Yeah. Yeah. So, Gavin's evil. We probably need to kill him. I'm good. Hard pass. Yeah, your chances of succeeding are very slim. Like I said, your chances of succeeding are very slim. Alright. Build up a little might. Run this. There we go. Alright. Hey, we finished. Finished the Nightmare Court. Sweet. Alright. Now we need to go find Keith back in the Grove. So, we're simply going to come down here and... because I know which waypoint it is, I'm just going to waypoint straight to Reckoner's waypoint. This will put us at the bottom of the grove, and we can simply run right over to Keith's house. Or towards the bottom. It's not the actual bottom, but it's also the closest one to Keith's house. Alright. Let's go talk to Keith. next step is done. I think I'm going to grab the shield just because I don't have one yet. $16, we get 10 primary attributes and access to the guild panel. So at level 10, if you are playing your first character, you will at this point be able to join a guild. Obviously, because this is like my 12th character, I've been in a guild for a long time. If you checked out the stream yesterday, you'll know that I actually am an officer in my guild, ARM. And I did actually invite a couple of people to the guild yesterday. If you do wish to join ARM, which is the tag for the guild, the actual guild name is Apocalyptic Armageddon. And you are a Guild Wars 2 player checking out my streams, feel free to send me a mail in-game, or if you see me online, simply whisper me. I don't have any problem sending invites and things. The guild is semi-active. We generally have people on every day, and we do have weekly events and stuff. For the most part, a lot of our stuff is fairly small. We do guild missions every Thursday night, strike missions Friday night, and raids on Saturdays. The strike missions and raids are 10-person groups, so it's a little harder for us to have large amounts of people. They are also more endgame type things. So it's a little more difficult for us to have newer people join us for them. We would prefer people who have experience as well as proper gear for it, which, as much as I am sad to say, does not include most people who are just starting out. For raids and strike missions and stuff, you generally need much higher gear, and a lot of times, more specialized builds. Now, I have considered getting some other guild stuff set up. If we do get new people that are interested in doing stuff like the dungeons and things, I would be willing to run some of that stuff myself, and I know there are other people in the guild who would also be willing to help run it and help new players get through some of that content. Personally, I don't necessarily do dungeons stuff that often, but I am not opposed to it. They are interesting and somewhat fun from time to time. You want to talk to Keith? Thank you. Now, unfortunately, that is not actually possible. It won't let you become corrupted. You cannot actually join the Nightmare Court. Honestly, I think it would be cool if you could, but it would definitely make things interesting. Because their words are more than 25 years old. So, I don't necessarily understand and where their stuff comes from, being as the oldest Sylvari in existence is only 25 years old. So, they don't really know what's going on. But the Nightmare Court tends to disagree with things that are not Sylvari. Now, that was simply finding the correct option. Originally, those would have some bearing on things. However, that has pretty much been removed, and there really isn't much involved with it anymore. I mean, that can be arranged. Again, I disagree, but, you do you. Yeah. Now, here is the first instance of personal story divergence. There are several points in the personal story where you have to decide on a course of action, and that will shape your personal story. So, while there is a fixed number of possible choices, So there is a large number of people who will end up having the exact same story path. There is a lot of individuality to the story paths. No two players are really going to do it the same. The instances themselves do have fixed pathing based on your choices. However, how you approach them is what truly makes this game have a more personal and unique story than most MMOs and even regular RPG storylines, with a couple of exceptions that have equally as frustrating outcomes. For me, personally, I am more of a run-in, guns blazing kind of guy. Stealth is not necessarily my first choice in Guild Wars, which is hilarious because in a lot of other games, it is my first choice. However, for this, I think I want to do the distraction. Simply because I don't really feel like doing disguises. Alright, power, precision, vitality. I think I want precision. Alright, and throw that on there just because it's better. Actually, equip that. Put that on there to expand my inventory by another 8 slots. Equip that. Deposit materials. That one's slightly better. Okay, that's 173. Okay, so that's the best spear. That is better there. Let's actually jump over to my equipment, because I want to put that there. That way I have the 2 stronger ones. That's worse. That's worse. That's just different. I'm going to switch to a hammer and then shield here, just because I have not used them, and I would like to show them off and kind of get a feel for their mechanics and skills. Alright. Takes care of that. Now we exit. Alright, because I did not plan very well, and did not realize that my drink was quite that empty when I started the stream, I'm going to take a quick break to go refill my drink, because that is important that I stay hydrated and not completely murder my throat by talking without ever drinking anything. So, we will be right back. Okay. Now that I have quickly refilled my drink, and we are good to go, we are now going to head out and start working on more map completion. I know I'd said I didn't want to do map completion while doing the story. And that is still true. I don't necessarily plan on doing a whole lot. Where is down? Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright. Now, the reason why I'm going to do a little bit of map completion is simply because we have to come through this area anyways to get to our next story. And it's not a horrible idea to do so. Simply because, again, it will get us some experience and help us continue. Yeah, no. How about we don't do that? Now, as you can see, like most of the renowned hearts, especially in the early areas, there are obviously ways to do this without having to do any fighting. Alright. Now let's go take a look at this one. Alright. So give him the lavender I picked up by accident. Nothing that's really helpful to us per se. However, he is a merchant, so we can sell junk to him, which does help clear out our inventory quite a bit. Because we do still have a very small inventory. At some point I will actually get onto my main and show you, what his inventory looks like and how full it is. Oh, I have run out of logging axes. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We just can't gather lumber for a little bit till I go get a new logging axe, which is fine. Alright, and because that's the third scout we've talked to, we completed that, which gave us enough experience to get level 17. Now, level 17, if it is your first character, is where you unlock the wardrobe and being able to change what your armor looks like with unlocked skins that you have. It's also where you first gain access to the trade post that I went over yesterday, where you can buy and sell items from other players. Do keep in mind with the trade post, as I went over yesterday, if you are trying to sell things on there, there is a listing fee that does require you to have some money on you just to put items on the trade post. Okay, now we're gonna stick with the power one just because I want power for right now, at least. Just salvage that. Alright, and now we go back and work on unlocking more skills. Alright, now, part of the reason why I was pushing meditation training so much was because I wanted to get to this point. The last skill in your what do I want to call it? I really don't have a good name for them. Skill sets, skill trees. I'm not really sure what to actually call them. Um, some of the professions, they're fairly simple to call. Um, Elementalist, it's fairly easy because they can simply be called attunements or elements. Um, Guardian, I am less sure on because they're not necessarily single type things. There's shouts, there's signets, there's spirit weapon training. I mean, so it's a lot of different stuff. But anyways, we are sidetracking. Or I'm sidetracking myself, I should say. The last one in each of the training is what's called an elite skill. It's a more powerful skill that you can only have one on your bar at a time. However, you don't necessarily have access to them right away. So, unlocking more utility skills rather than trying to focus on one path like I did is generally a better idea for starting characters. Sounds like my wife just got home with my son and he is not happy. Okay. That's going to be fun to deal with. Okay. Into the fortress. And more importantly, this merchant. Now, the gathering tools that you get when you first unlock gathering only have 20 uses per item. The ones you buy that are not permanent infinite ones, from the trade post, or from the gem store, I mean, have 50 uses for the plant-based sickles and 100 uses for the logging axes and mining picks. Now, as I went over yesterday when we unlocked gathering, there are different levels based on rarity of metal and strength of metal for which they can mine. Now, I don't really want to go over further to fully explain all of the different tiers. There are 6 of them, ranging from the basic copper ones all the way up to Mithril. And then the gem store ones above that, of course. Okay. Now, since I am out of logging axe, I'm going to get an iron one, simply because it is the next step up and will allow me to harvest the next tier of tree when we get to it. There's also the fact that I am starting to get a little tired. I should have taken a nap before I started streaming. Oh, we used the end of the mining pick. Probably should have bought an extra one of those, too. Oh well. Okay, now before anybody says anything, the oh, there's an event. Neat. The underwater combat is not necessarily the absolute greatest, but it's not terrible either. Okay. Now, the annoying part of events like this is they are timed, and there is no way to make them go any faster. I missed. Get back here. How you doing today? So, if you want to complete events like this, you can hit some enemies and stuff to kind of initiate participation. However, if you don't do anything in the event for a long enough period of time, then you will stop receiving credit for it, and then when it does succeed or fail, you won't get any reward. Okay, 1 minute left in the event. We should be good. Also, welcome and hello to all the viewers. I do see a couple of you guys chatting there. I don't necessarily have chat right in front of me, due to not having a second monitor set up, which I do plan eventually getting a second monitor and having it set up so I can see it without having it on my phone, where I have to look off to the side to see it. I do appreciate everyone stopping by and checking out the stream. And for the, comments and chat, it does help. And it does increase my chances of actually being able to eventually do this with some kind of regularity, in terms of I already have all of these, so I don't really care. If you have a die already, you can actually just salvage it for crafting materials. That is a scepter. Is that stronger than the mace I'm currently using? It is, by a lot. Let's move that over, since I've never used a scepter on Guardian before. I am going to just destroy this because it's not worth keeping and I don't want it. Okay, let's go talk to the merchant over here. Because then I can get a mining pick. Which actually... Okay, it's still got 14 uses. I can find someone to get one from later. The crafting materials, while I am collecting it and stuff, it's more just because I can. I don't necessarily particularly need them for anything. I do have some crafting that I need to do to finish off some of the crafts. I don't have them maxed out because I don't really use them much. Do I want to go over there, or do I want to continue up to my story? Let's go over here, because there's at least a waypoint over here. Now, all of the starting areas have a small crafting area like this in them. Where you can start working on the crafting disciplines. I don't necessarily feel the need to do crafting on this character. Simply because I do have all of the crafting professions on my other characters. So I have someone who can do all of them already that are significantly higher level than this character. And so I probably won't be showcasing much of the crafting. I do want to show off the bank here. You can see in mine I've got all kinds of stuff from my other characters and stuff. I've got a whole bunch of stuff. But the bank is divided into 3 sections. There is the actual bank, which is this section here, which has various tabs for you to use to store items. I currently have, I believe, 14 tabs. I do not know what the actual maximum is. I'd have to actually look it up. Really don't have much to say about this, actually. The other section here is material storage, which houses all the gathering materials you collect. I have fully upgraded mine so it can hold 200 or 2,500 of each item. I believe the base one is 500 to start with, but I could be wrong on that. Um, there is numerous different crafting materials. A lot of them aren't necessarily useful or even accessible till you are much higher level. And some of them are very specific, such as the cooking ingredients here. You actually can't get these outside of being a chef. To actually get these ingredients at all, you have to be a chef. And basically make the item that goes in these spots. Scribing, as you can see, is fairly empty because I don't do a lot of scribing. There's also festival materials, which are Halloween, Winter's Day, and Dragon Bash are where you get those from. The next holiday event after Festival of Four Winds that's currently going on that will be happening will be the end of October for Halloween. Or as it's called in Guild Wars 2, Shadow of the Mad King. The last tab in the bank is actually your account wardrobe storage. This will let you look at your account's entire wardrobe and see any and all skins you have unlocked for all armor classes, as well as ones that you don't have. This will let you look at basically every single piece of armor in the game. And will tell you where and how to get them. Let me get down to heavy headgear for a second. Alright, here we go. So, like the Dragon's Mask here, it tells you that it's obtainable from the Black Lion Trading Company, or the Gem Store as they call it. And so, some of them, like this one, is a cultural armor that can only be purchased for Char. A lot of them are just Gem Store items. Or tied to certain achievements or events, such as the paper bag helms here, which can only be gotten during Halloween. Similar to the pumpkin crown, which is another Halloween one. So, this will let you, as I said, see basically every single skin in the game. You can click on them and preview them as well. Now, this is a sword which Guardian can't use. However, you can see what it looks like. This is actually a legendary sword called Arian's Fang, which looks like that. It's very difficult to get legendary stuff, but they are useful. I can't see them currently because I'm not level 80. All of my level 80 characters that can use swords or warhorns do have access to the legendary one because I have crafted them. I am currently working on crafting a legendary again for like the fourth time. Because I've crafted my warhorn, my sword, and then I crafted my wife a short bow. Currently, I'm not sure which one I'm going to make next. I do have this stuff to make both a legendary dagger as well as a legendary short bow. So I will make one or the other. I'm not sure when exactly. That is kind of a back burner project, I guess is a good way to put that. I forgot that these have to actually be taken back. Okay. That progress is painfully slow. Alright, I'm going to just ignore that because that is painfully slow. So we are going to head off to the left here towards our next story mission. Okay. So this is our next personal story instance, Saving the White Stag. Now, as I said at the end of the last one, because we chose the distraction option and not the disguise option, our path is going to be slightly different than someone who chose the disguise option. because we are not going to be trying to sneak or stealth our way through in any way. My job is basically to make the biggest, loudest distraction of all time and attract all enemies away from where Kaith needs to go to save the White Stag. So, let's go ahead and talk to Kaith and get this going. Now, I'm going to give it 5-1 odds that we end up getting interrupted. Called it. There we go. And away we go. I'm going to take the great sword. And again, that's simply because I haven't used a great sword yet. Now, this is why I wanted to go and get that waypoint. Because our next thing is back here in the grove again. And I am going to be simply mapping or map traveling back there rather than running back there. I will be finishing Caledon Forest here's map before we move on to the level 20 story. However, go down. Well, let me jump to the other one. Fine. Go to Reckoners. Well, let me go to the one I actually want to go to. Alright. I actually need Upper Commons. Okay, take this down. Alright. And that puts us right here at our story instance. I don't know why you would want to give that away for free. That's a fairly decent recipe insignia that's semi-expensive. Okay. And on we go. Okay, Keith, what you got for me? Alright. I mean, it kinda is already. I already have the white stag, so I don't understand why I'm accepting this. I mean, I really don't gain anything even if I win. Okay. Kinda already met the pale tree when I was exploring town, but sure, we can officially be introduced. Alright, and now we speak to the pale tree. Yes. Yes, it is. I pretty much guarantee you're right because it's scripted that way, but whether it works out with one attempt or 6 attempts is the real question. Now, you can get this reward once a week. This stuff here you will get every time. However, you can only get a Black Lion chest key from completing a level 10 story once per week. Now we are 19, so now we unlock our 3rd slot. As well as got more points. Okay, I'm going to get those. And then I'm going to grab Sword of Justice just to get that started. I'm going to swap that over. And I think I'll swap this one. Alright. Now, because I have the Black Lion key, I can open this chest and see what I get. Nothing spectacular. Revive Orb, Teleport to Friend, and the guaranteed statuette. And then currently you get the Zephyrite supply box. And the Zephyrite supply box had basically 5 gold in it. The iron ore is just iron ore. It's just a quartz crystal. However, this is a junk item worth 5 gold. So, that's kind of nice and kind of important. Okay, 213, 215. But that has hobbling. This has nothing. Alright. 218. 244. That one's the worst one. Axe, I don't have one. Throw that on there. I think I'll keep the rest of that for now. Yeah. Okay. Oh, right. I forgot. Because they gave this to me as a reward. It's not. It doesn't have its stats picked. I should have the our Condi damage one. Let's go with this one. Alright. Now, we are done with story chapter 1. And now when we hit level 20, we will be able to move on to the second chapter. Because I don't necessarily want to worry about it, and I do want to try to get some of the stuff done just to show it off. I am going to be dyeing my armor. I don't really like that one. Here's my Shadow Abyss. Really make it dark. There we go. Now, applying dyes is completely free. Boop. Now, because I didn't actually do anything with it earlier, I am going to throw some of this stuff in the bank. To be able to move it to one of my other characters, or simply because I store them in the bank anyways. Alright, and now I want a vendor. Don't really care which one. Sell all of that stuff. Now, since we're done with that and do have to kind of work on leveling and stuff before we can continue our personal story. I am going to go back to mapping Caledon Forest. And I do zoom out a little. That way I can highlight it here. I do kind of plan on finishing Caledon Forest 100% before moving on to the level story. Simply because, as you can see here, it says 1 through 15. That is what the 5 starter areas are. For level range is level 1 through 15. As such, I'm not necessarily gonna need to be in the area once I unlock and move on to the later story missions. In terms of actual map completion for the world completion here, a lot of that will have to be done basically just on your own as free wandering, because a lot of the areas you don't get sent to in personal stories and things. And that's simply because your early story stuff doesn't necessarily do stuff in the other races' starting areas. So, like, because I'm playing a Sylvari, my personal story is not going to take me over to the Char area in Azkaban, because there's just no need to. My story does not go that far. Some of the maps over there will be adventured into with story missions and things once we have gotten far enough into the personal story. However, a lot of the lower level areas just never get touched. So I will be eventually doing them and completing the maps. I don't know when that will be, at what point in the story I'll worry about doing that. But for right now, we're just going to jump to Mabon Waypoint. And because we have been going for a little over 2 hours, I am going to take a quick break to get up, stretch, and do all the normal people things that need to be done. So I will be back in just a few minutes. Alright. And we are back. Yay. This event again. Again, we're going to be skipping out on this event because I don't actually want to take the time to do it because it's super time consuming and requires a lot of stuff. I'm going to be going over to this blueberry bush though. Actually, before we start working on that northern area, I would like to come down here. Hey, the tree is actually up. Since when we were here doing this stuff in this area yesterday, this tree was not in good health. I was not able to show this off. This is a jumping puzzle. There are a lot of them throughout the game. Some of them harder than others. The big thing to note with most jumping puzzles is they are locked for mobility and designed to be done just in your base setup. So, as you can see here, my gliding is disabled, so I cannot glide, and my mounts are disabled, so I cannot jump on a mount. So, I have to do this by jumping as my character on foot. If I fall, I am probably going to die. Now, what you can do in jumping puzzles is you can still use swiftness and leap skills. So, if I wanted to use swiftness, I could. That is the end of that jumping puzzle. Most jumping puzzles have a chest at the end. This jumping puzzle, however, is a little different in that it not only has the jump puzzle there, it actually leads to another jump puzzle here in this area. which you have to be careful of because there are these mortars and things that will continuously attack you. And again, if I fall, I'm probably going to die. As well as the fact that there are enemies in here just on their own. Such as all of these things. Hey, we got level 20. Okay. Now, the other jumping puzzle starts over here. Okay, this is what's called a down state. And I'm going to very much die here. Because I did not kill anything fast enough to rally. Because that was a lot of stuff. I wasn't necessarily super concerned about that, in all honesty. It's not something that really concerned me with dying. I don't really worry about that. Since someone is apparently doing this, why don't we give them a hand? Because as you can see, even turning one in does like hardly any progression. don't actually know why this seems to require you have like 1,000,000 get put in there. But it does. I know there is event scaling in the game, so if there are more people around, the events will be harder. However, this area does not necessarily have that many people. So, why it's got such a high requirement for the experiments turned in, I don't know. And as you can see, this, even with multiple people doing it, just takes forever. The real question here is, am I going to get 10 before it gets finished? There you are. Okay. Alright, let's go finish this event. There we go. Alright. That event is now done. So now we just have to wait for it to finish with the timer. Okay. Now, well, I don't necessarily want to do them. One, Adventure Guide Volume 1 is completely done. Now, Volume 2 does have some stuff that I don't really want to do, such as crafting items and earning crafting levels and stuff. These ones I don't really want to do. Defeating world bosses, unless I come across one at the right time, I'm not necessarily going to go out of my way to do that. So this one may take us a little longer to complete. And once you get into Adventure Guide 3, 4, and 5, they become a lot more specific. Such as defeating specific types of enemies and things. So I will eventually finish the adventure guide, just because you do naturally over the course of playing, no matter what you do. But I'm not going to be making it a priority, per se. Other than the dailies and stuff. Now, this is a example of a jumping puzzle that is required for completion. Okay, that just runs in a circle. Let's go this way. I feel like that's wrong. It's been quite a while since I did these jumping puzzles and stuff in the early areas, so I'm not going to guarantee I remember all of them. That one I did, though. Okay. Should be just about done. There we go. Alright, that takes care of that heart. Now, this is the first instance of where a karma vendor will actually give you a gathering tool for karma. Should probably equip that. That's not worth it. Can't even use that. Equip that. Alright, that gets rid of that. Now that I've used pretty much all of the weapons, I'm kind of trying to figure out which one I like and want to use regularly. The problem is none of them have really jumped out at me right now. I'm leaning towards hammer with mace as the switch main hand, but I don't know what I want for the switch offhand. Okay. I'm not a big fan of the axe, so I think I'm going to get rid of it. Staff, I just did not care for. Scepter, I also don't particularly care for. Not wardrobe equipment. I'm not a giant fan of greatsword either, so definitely thinking I'm gonna go hammer. I don't know if I want focus, shield, or torch, though. Okay. Well, I think that's gonna be it for weapons and wardrobe stuff, because I can't really decide anything else I want to do with it. What I do need to do, though, is go pick up some of the other stuff to the south. Well, because there's a commander tag there, that means it's most likely time for the world boss. To do the world boss, I'd actually have to run quite a ways north. The world bosses are actually on a 3-hour timer. So, if I did not do the world boss this time, I could do it in like 3 hours. Now, unlike the normal nodes, that was a rich copper node, which means it gives 10 ore instead of 3. And we are now level 21. Which has unlocked our traits and specializations. Which... that unlocks more stuff for us to train, because it allows us to train this stuff, as well as select a build. I am not currently going to be training any of those right now, because I want to finish training skills. I'm simply going to get those two. Okay. So, let's let's head on over this way. Grab more copper. Okay. Now, that is all of the waypoints and stuff on the lower part. I'm going to jump over here real quick so I can get the 2 POIs I missed. The big reason why I tend to try to get everything the first time I'm going through that area, which I missed these 2 POIs, is for this exact reason of I now have to backtrack and get it, and it's tedious and annoying. Okay. Let's go ahead and finish this event again. go. Alright, that event's done. Okay. A lot of the next few hearts after this upcoming one are actually going to be underwater, which has different skills and is fought differently. Alright. Before I work on finishing that heart, I'm gonna go get this Vista. This is another one of the Vistas that has a small mini jumping puzzle to get to it. I missed. I underjumped. There we go. That is 5 out of 8 vistas for this map. I know the stream is not quite as long as yesterday's. It's only been about 3 hours. Although I am starting, I'm not even starting, I have been kind of dozing in and out a little. So I am actually going to, head off here. Thank everyone for stopping by, all the people that chatted and everything. I may do another short stream a little later. I'll probably do one tomorrow as well, once I get out of work. Although I'll probably take a nap before the stream tomorrow, not after, so I'm not as tired. But I'm gonna head out and take a nap, because I am tired and dozing off at the keyboard. So, again, thank you everybody for stopping by, and everyone that said Ed stuff. I do appreciate any follows and stuff like that. And I will hopefully see you next time. Thank you.